Hi, my name is Erik Almas. I'm in San Francisco and I'm chatting it up with the Frame Network. Happy to have you guys here, and I hope that I could share something useful to you guys out there.
Day at the office.
It was very cool shooting with Erik. He has a very clear idea of what he wants, makes it very easy for you to give him what he wants because he has such a specific vision in his mind.
You talked about how you left Norway, came to the States to go to school. I kind of want to know about pre-America. What were you like as a kid and growing up, and what sports or any other activities that led to photography? Like, what were you like as a kid, and what led to that?
All right. Wow. Is there a question in there? So I just start telling my life story as a kid.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no, I did sports. Played hockey in the winter. I played football in the summer. Did okay at hockey. Skied a lot. I was a DJ. So I started that pretty early. When I was like 13, 14, I got into spinning records. So I would ski during the day, right? And take ski pictures and work at night. And then just got tired of working at night. Just like the lifestyle and, sleeping late and working late. And the atmosphere that comes with that, it's a little intoxicating. You could get carried away, It's like, whoop, whoop, yeah, it's fun. So then I just came to that crossroads, right? And said, what the heck, what do I do? And then photography was really the only thing that excited me. I did okay in school. It wasn't like I was a rebel that didn't connect with school at all, but I sure wanted to have more fun than just sitting there 9 to 5. So photography just felt good to me at the time.
So how did you actually get involved into it? I mean, were you doing like art before, or was there like some sort of like spark where you're like, all right?
No, so here's the thing, right? When I think about that as well, I was never the most artistic kid in the class or anything. There was always people that drew amazing and did amazing stuff, and I wasn't that person at all. Pretty competitive though, I think, right? So if I apply myself to something, it would be done okay. Got a second place in the Norwegian DJ Mixing Championship too from '91. Yeah. So I think I'm pretty committed. I don't know if it's if I get excited about shit, I just dive in fully or what it is, but yeah, I got excited about photography and I just applied myself. And I think it's maybe that tenacity, right, that made me succeed. I'm not sure if you need to be the most talented guy to succeed in anything. It's actually, you know, kind of clever because my one of my really best friends is a soccer coach for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and he always says it's not the number one guy when you're a kid that succeeds, it's the number 2 and 3. Because the number 1 has it sort of, oh, I'm the most talented kid, and that doesn't take you far. It's the number 2 and 3 that's hungry to be the number 1 that would actually sort of work the hardest to succeed in the long run. If you just have it in you and you want to make it, then you will. That's not about the innate talent, I don't think. It wasn't for me anyway, so I could just say that I did fairly well at photography so far. So yeah, I think it's just to keep at it.
You said that you started with like ski photography. Like, how did you kind of transition that into, you know, your next step in that process?
Well, I wanted to do photography. It sounded like fun, right? So I came here with the intention of doing sports photography. So my first 2, 3, maybe 4 semesters, first couple of years at the academy, that was my intention. So I photographed the 49ers, I photographed the Golden State Warriors. I photographed all sports for USF, so basketball, baseball, whatever they had, right, for the local paper, the student paper. So I just wanted to shoot sports really, and then through school you got exposed to all these different classes, yeah. And the one in particular that I took was creative portraiture, and it was quite amazing because until that time I'd only been capturing moments, right. There's the peak sport moment, and you just sit there and it's like. And then I come to this class where this lady says, this one specific assignment was, I was given this assignment called a poetic talent of a glance. And then for someone that's used to just like, oh, go and shoot a sporting event, to go shoot a poetic talent of a glance. It's like, what does that mean? It's like, how do you shoot that, right? But it's a mind bender because even now saying the words, right, how do you photograph them? And suddenly it becomes an internal thing. You start visualizing what is a poetic talent, and what does that have to do with a glance, and what does that mean to me? Suddenly imagination starts running and you see things in your mind, and suddenly it became a different thing. Photography just, I think it was in that moment it really started meaning something more than just snap and this is fun. It's actually something that nurtures the heart, right? You go, whoa, this is fun stuff. So school was extraordinary for me in that moment and in that sense because it sort of opened the doors, right, to what photography really is. So I think that was the moment where it changed for me from fun sports into something truly passionate.
Another, huge aspect of the way that you're functioning now is based off of like your business sense. So do you think that that's something that was more learned, or do you think that the school played a more important role in that?
No, that's something that's learned. That was through my time assisting for sure. We had a business class in school, but it was stupid. Learn how to write a memo. It's like, who do I write memos to as a photographer? I have 2 employees and then there's producers and other people, but you talk to them, right? It's a people business. So I feel the business class at school was maybe applicable to, someone that would go on and work for huge studios in the design part, or, something like that. But for us as photographers, it was kind of silly, really. But then I started assisting. For 2.5 years I assisted full-time for a guy called Jim Erickson, who's truly an advertising great. And he had a really amazing business sense, right? So I learned the business practices from him, really. I thought I did well in school and was like, okay, now I'm going to be a photographer. And then I get hired by Jim, and the first day I get to be in the office at 3 a.m. to shoot sunrise for an Audi shoot. And I was so lost, right? It's a completely different ball game, and I learned crazy a lot over a very short period of time. So that's where I learned sort of the business aspects of things.
Did you talk about how you explain or describe your own style?
No.
Can you talk about that? I would love to hear how you describe your style.
Wow. My style of photography. It's tough to describe that myself, I think. I'm always attracted to a quiet sense of beauty. That's what I'd like to call it. That's really at the heart of it. There's an openness, there's an expansiveness to it. Definitely a romantic part to it. Not very controversial in my work. I'm not one that seeks out disharmony. There's so many photographers I feel that is rebellious, and they have sort of an energy that is, if not angry, it's the very opposite of what I have, right? I come from a very solid family, from a solid country, very safe and sound, and I think that's reflected in my work. I'm attracted to a lot of things for a lot of very personal reasons, and as I have matured, right, I realize why I'm drawn to the things I'm drawn to. In the broader sense, it has a lot to do with where I grew up and what my childhood were and all those things. And I see quietness in all my pictures, in some way. It's hard to describe. Painterly palette, I mean, you can look at my work. If you look at my pictures that I take today and you look at the classic Norwegian painters, right, there's a similarity there that I only discovered just a few years ago. It's just that sentiment, that comes with a certain culture that's ingrained in me, and I gravitate towards those things. I'm not sure if that describes my style, but
that's beautiful.
It's bigger moments that has a quietness to them, and it's definitely a romantic sense of beauty. I think that's who I am too as a person, right?
So is that something that's kind of progressed over time? I mean, where was it when you first kind of started out and first started getting into it, or has it been kind of even kilter that same look?
Yeah, no, it's always been there. I think the core has been there, but it's been clearer, I think, as I move along. So I think in the beginning, right, you just take a lot of different pictures everywhere, and you think, oh, I like this, and oh, I like that, and then you see something that's cool, so you shoot that, and you see something else, and you shoot this. And within all those pictures, there's usually something that you come back to, right? If it's textures or a certain kind of person, or if it's a certain kind of place or a certain kind of light, you see that start surfacing over and over and over again. And then you at some point then go, oh, I am attracted to those things because that's who I am as a person. If you just say, okay, this is me and who I am, I'm going to shoot those things. And as you do that, your vision becomes more focused and more singular. And I think as I gone from this to that, like this is the core of my voice, I can then again sort of do more stuff, but still do it with that same sentiment, right? So yes, it has gotten from this in the beginning to something that's really very focused, and now I feel I'm confident enough to maybe apply that to different genres, right? So there's the landscapes, there's the fashion work, there's the portraits, there's the advertising work, and in all of it I feel there's a very strong sense of me in it.
So for people who are trying to still discover that voice that they have, like, is there any tips that you would have as far as trying to be able to hone in on what they're true to?
Yeah, for sure. And it's easy. No, it's
super easy, guys. Don't even worry about it.
It's not easy. So yes, it is. In the essence of it, it's easy. What takes time is to practice it, right? in our culture, it's so like instant. Everyone wants it now. And there's all this sort of stuff that goes on with learning online where people dive into it and think they're gonna just watch a show or do a thing and then they're gonna learn it. I mean, it's gotta be practiced. So that's the thing. There's so much learning, there's so much of this topic here online. You could all find it. And then when you learn it, you gotta apply it to yourself. And that's where the time horizon comes. I can tell myself that, oh, I want to shoot like Stephen Klein. But I mean, I'm not going to just do that tomorrow. If I really applied myself to that, I could, over 2-3 years, maybe craft a portfolio that would sort of have that style to it if that really was what I was gravitating towards. So the essence, I think, of that process is to recognize what you're drawn to. And that's just to look at a lot of pictures and really focus in on light, people, landscape, whatever it is. Just write down keywords of this is the things that I like, that I'm visually drawn to, and then shoot those things. It's as simple as that. I'll talk about this in the DVD because I find that that's really the essence of it, right? As I explained, I started shooting some over here and some over there, and then it's hard to find yourself in that. But if you look at a lot of pictures, other people's pictures, and say, I like the light in this because of, and I like the color palette in this because of, and you can just put down a list and say, I'm Erik Almas, and I like light that's sitting low on the horizon, I like light that's warm, I like to shoot older men, I like to shoot beautiful women, I like to shoot that and that and that and that. And when you have that list of all the descriptors, I mean, you gotta go deep into it too, but when you have a list of descriptors, you could say, this list is my style. And it really is. This is all the shit that you're drawn to. And then you go and shoot that. And as you practice that, right, over and over, that will come forth in photographs. So that's the way to do it.
Awesome.
So you can go ahead and shoot for 5 years and then suddenly see, oh, a style is appearing. Or look at a lot of other people's pictures and say, I love the light in that picture and I love the person in that picture. So you gotta ask yourself then, why am I consistently drawn to one kind of person, right? I like these kinds of people. Old faces because they remind me of my grandpa. I like that and that person because they remind me of some kind of longing or some fairy tale or something. And when you know what that fairy tale or story or color or why it resonates with you is, then it's just go and shoot it over and over and over again. And then you will have a style. The essence is really that, right? It's not that hard. You can't say, oh, I want a style. Then look at stuff and write down what you're drawn to, and that is your style. And then, of course, you gotta execute. And I think that's the biggest hurdle for people. It's still photography, right? You can't create your style on the computer, so you gotta go out and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot.
How frequently are you traveling? I mean, do you get a break? It sounds like you're pretty much all over the place.
Yeah, no, you do get breaks. And you get break, I mean, I love traveling. The actual flying is tough, but when you get to places, you get inspired and you get to see cultures and people and do things that is truly special, right? So I feed off of that. It's been a lot now. It's been 9 weeks since I've been home last. I got home 2 days ago and leave again in 3 days. So that's a little tough, but you get to see and live things, that most people don't. So I'm just being grateful, that I get to be part of it. It's a lot of fun,
So, I mean, let's just kind of dive into your photography. I mean, to start with, it speaks for itself. It's magnificent and very visually pleasing. your ability to be able to travel and see these magnificent locations, so much of your work is about the environment that you're in. How does that kind of tie in, and how does that kind of feed off of each other when you're creating a concept?
So you start by taking pictures of what you gravitate towards, right? And for me, that's big places and big vistas and landscapes that sort of speak to the heart in some way. And for me, that's an openness, there's a grandness to it. So I think if you want to travel and see amazing places, if you have an innate interest in it, you will capture it in a way that speaks to you, and that will again speak to a marketplace that will take you to travel like I've been. So I think that's where it starts when it comes to concepts and how to create these pictures. It's two parts to it, right? It's the ideas around it that you're drawn to, things that you want to explore or say something about, and then you put that often in places or in settings you're drawn to too, right? So if that's an interior, if that's an exterior, it's from photographer to photographer. For me, it's often in those big environments, even if it's inside of like grand places, right? So that's where it started. I think it's part of my upbringing, being from Norway, which is a very mountainous, beautiful, landscapey sort of place. So yeah, that's the start of it, and then it snowballed, and now I'm a traveling photographer going to these amazing places, right? There's a few little things that happened there, right? But somehow I ended up buying a camera, and I took that to the slopes and took some ski images and took a darkroom course in the national defense, which everyone in Norway has to do. And then when I was 21, scratching my head about what the heck do I do in my life, right? I was like, oh, photography sounds like fun, I'll try that. And the idea was that I would study in Norway and then keep on doing what I was doing on the side. But then this one guy just said, not one guy, he was a photographer in town. He studied at Brooks, and he'd just come back to Norway, and he said, you can't study photography in Norway, you have to go to the US. And that's where it started. 3 months later, I was on my way here to study.
And this is always kind of an interesting conversation because, it varies so much from person to person. Do you think that was something that helped perpetuate your career further, or?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I didn't know anything really about photography at that time. I'd read a few books and taken a darkroom course, and photography was just fun at that time, right? It was just, oh, this is cool. So school was a really good environment for me. Really. I thought I would just take a couple of years, learn the good stuff, and come back and work for the local newspaper shooting sporting events, right? That was my plan. And then I got just sucked into it and had some amazing teachers, right, that really made me understand photography and what it was about, and then I got completely addicted. And that's 19 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my journey. I think there's different ways to get there, right? If you're passionate about picture making, you could get there through assisting or on your own or school or whatever that is. For me, it worked out really, really well. I had amazing teachers that sort of set my path. So for me, school was the right thing.
If you weren't shooting within the industry that you are now, what do you think would be more of a passion project or something else that you would want to be doing?
Good question. I think I would do the same, but in a quieter manner, right? It's not like I go ahead and do advertising photography and it's different from who I am. Everything I do has my aesthetic infused into it. The ideas are driven by the agencies and what the client want to accomplish and say with the pictures, but the aesthetic is always mine. So if I were to do something different, it would be with the same voice and same tone. It would maybe just be a little bit more introverted, maybe quieter in the expression, more open landscapes, quiet nudes, things that speak to a different sentiment maybe that upbeat advertising does. You know, you're happy people taking a walk, or you know, whatever that is that describes something for the client. For me, it would definitely be more of a contemplative, inward sort of message to the imagery.
Absolutely. You are working for all of these, large clients, and you're doing these incredible things. Among those, over your years of experience, what would you say is your ideal shoot, or maybe even the best shoot that you've already had?
There's so many of them, right?
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I've been asked to dive in caves right outside of Hawaii without even having a diving license, and you go into that and you do it. I've been jumping out of planes skydiving and only done it once before, right? And you get these opportunities through picture making that's just extraordinary, and I'm not sure if one is better than the other. I got this one amazing assignment for the largest hotel chain in the world. They literally traveled around the globe for 7 weeks, which was an extraordinary assignment, but there's all these different experiences, right? That I'm not sure if I've gotten to a place where I rate them as much. It's more about coming to a place and standing there for a minute and ask yourself, what does it mean, and what's the essence of the place, and then trying to absorb that and put it into pictures. It's not like, oh, this is cool, but it's not as cool as that one, it's a different experience. I love seeing new things, and I think if you ask me, what's my best assignment, I would say it's the one I haven't done yet. That goes to a place where I haven't been, to a person I haven't met. That's something that whole process of creating something new is what I seek. It's not so much about, oh, that was amazing, I wish I had it again. It's not that, it's progressing as a person, progressing as an image maker, and seeing amazing places and meeting amazing people.
When you're traveling to these different areas and you're, trying to come up with your vision for this concept, where do you find your inspiration? What would you say is a source of inspiration for you for these shoots?
The places often are, and then the people often are as well. When I come to a new place, I often ask myself, right, I just take a deep breath and I pause and try to just get a sense of what the place is, and I ask myself, what does this feel like to me? What does it remind me of? And then suddenly you just start absorbing the things, and then emotions swell up somehow. It does to me. And you just think, oh, is it inspiring? Is it new? Is it intimidating? Is it soulful? Is it scary? What is it? And from there comes an emotion, right? And then you apply that to the picture. There's ideas that comes with if it's for a commercial assignment, there's ideas that comes with it as well, and you try to incorporate their vision of it, how they see it, and how they'd like to express it. And then all that sort of conjures up into that one photograph that you learn from your mistakes, right? So if I did it different, maybe I didn't learn that from that mistake. So I think mistakes are good. Mistakes are good. There's a few things that I could have done different for sure, and I mention this often in lectures, that the idea is that you take pictures and you build a portfolio and then you start marketing yourself. And I think it's, what I realized, for me, it was a waste of time to first build a portfolio and then start building a market presence. Because then you double your time in some ways, right? What you should do is, as soon as you have one good picture, put it out there and start building a marketing plan too, in your market presence. And what happens then is you spend 2 years of marketing yourself, and you spend 2 years of building a portfolio, and the two matures at the same time, right? 2 years into it, you have marketing presence and a portfolio. And what I did was that I never felt it was quite good enough, so I spent 2-3 years building a portfolio, and then started marketing, and that took another 2 years. So then you're 5 years into it, So if there was one thing I would do over again, it would be to, when you're young, you're not really sensing it, so it's easy when I say now that, I should have marketed from day one. But if there's one advice and one thing that I would have done different, it's this market as you progress as a photographer, because then those two will mature equally fast instead of doing one thing at a time. And then I have this amazing work, but I can't get anyone to hire me, and you wonder why. And the reason why is that you don't have a market presence, right? People don't know who you are yet.
Absolutely.
So if that happens at the same time, then you're way ahead of the curve. There's the people that I want to work for, the people that I really aspire to have as clients. The ones that, when I look at advertising work, I think that's extraordinary. These clients, they really appreciate photography, they hire extraordinary photographers, and they put it out there in a way that's really appealing. So those are the people I want to work for. Might not be good enough or appropriate yet, but I still want them to know of me, right? So if they change direction in their sort of marketing, or if I mature as a photographer somehow, somewhere, maybe we click at some point, right? So that's one group of people, and then there's a group of people that I feel I'm appropriate for, right? So whoever that does similar sort of marketing as the images I take, I say I'm appropriate for these clients, I'm going to market to them as well. So it's the ones that I want to market to and the ones that I'm appropriate for. And then as I do work for myself, you know, I try to do work that would maybe fit the ones that I really aspire to work for, while I market to both of them. Through email, through postcards, through social media, through source books, Ad Edge, workbook, you know, there's tons of different outlets. So you gotta just find the avenues that you think is more appropriate and you pursue those. A lot of people take amazing pictures, but very few are smart about their marketing. So you gotta just say that, oh, maybe I'm not a marketing person, but you gotta educate yourself enough so that you can start that process. It's really that though, identifying who your client is and then find a way to reach them. And reaching them might be in different ways. The most inexpensive way and still fairly effective is email blasts. So you buy a list, it's $1,500. I know it's a lot of money, but it's definitely worth it. Because you don't want to spend that time researching people and addresses and all that stuff on your own. You're a photographer, you should take pictures. So invest in that list. From AdBase is one, there's a few others out there. And then you start, you know, finding the people within those lists that works on those two groups, you know, that you want to market to, and start sending them emails. That's it. And again, remember, don't wait for 2 years or till you have a good portfolio, send them one picture. It's a long process. It's not something that happens overnight. It's very few people that get discovered and suddenly they're rock stars. It's more a process, really. Some people come with stick figures and mood boards. Other comes with very detailed layouts and drawings of what they want to accomplish. The medical industry is one, because that's so heavily regulated. So before the layouts even come to me, they've been through FDA approval and all this stuff. So then it's very much, this is our idea, this is what we want to accomplish. And what I do in that process is really just apply my aesthetic, right? I apply my sensibilities to what's very set within their parameters. And then there's others that's just, all right, you know, let's make this happen and do something fun and amazing. And so it runs the gamut, really. It's different theories, right? Some people say if you set parameters for yourself, you'll explore and do better within that parameter, right? Because you won't go over here and you won't go over there. You just focus right here, beam of energy, and just say, I'm going to do my best within these parameters, right? So the result might be just as well as having a free range where you can just go crazy. I'm just glad it's both. If you had only one thing, it would be boring, right?
Yeah.
So no, I enjoy working on all kinds of projects. I do think structure is important though. So when I do my own projects as well, I try to be prepared. I mean, obviously you let, you know, influences come in and you soak up the moment, but if you're unprepared, you will never do your best, I don't think. So even when I shoot for myself, I have mood boards and tones and do the casting and focus on the ideas and have all this stuff, you know. So it's a lot of preparation there that I think is important, both for myself and for clients.
Even though you've been doing this a while, and I mean, of course, you're working with, you know, some of these larger names, is there something that still kind of rattles your bones a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, for sure.
I mean,
Should I tell you, I sometimes feel like I want to throw up and I get sick to my stomach.
Well, I mean, like,
yeah,
is there
that happens all the
something
time.
specific, like just anything in particular that still is kind of stressful, or?
Yeah, it all is. So there's a lot of pressure, right? Everyone expects. So there's a lot of unknown because it's an art, right? You just show up and hope for the best, but everyone expects you to perform just as well as all the other pictures you've done, right? So you just got to make sure that you're prepared enough to do so, to not let, to not just think, oh, it's going to be fine when you get there, because if you have a feeling of it's not going to be fine, it's not going to be fine, right? So you push as hard as you can on locations and casting, and you push as hard as you can on all the preparations up front, so that by the time you get to location, you could actually sort of take a deep breath and not worry about all the other stuff. You focus only on the pictures and connecting with the place and the people, and sort of do what you do. I mean, it makes it exciting. If it was an easy walk in the park, it wouldn't be fun, right? As long as the challenge is there, I'm excited. Those are the jobs that excites me more these days, right? Something that has that storytelling element to it, or something that's bigger than just a two-dimensional surface. That's what picture is, right? You just take it. But if there's an emotional content there, and you realize that, and you start trying to put that into that two-dimensional surface, then there's a different picture. I love advertising. I love what I'm doing. I'm truly grateful to the advertising community, right? To be able to travel to the places I've been, to experience the stuff I've done, the people that's in it. It's a crazy bunch, you know, the people that works at agencies, creative, fun people. So I don't want to change that at all. As long as they'll have me, I'll keep on doing it. When it comes to doing different things, of course I do. I want to shoot more storytelling pictures. I want to do more portraiture. I just want to better my craft, basically, and I think that's where my focus is, and to do something that's deeper, more meaningful, and that's, to me, creating stories or having people that really emanates emotion or gives away their character to the pictures. I guess I don't know where it will take me, right? But I want to do better, and I want to do different with my pictures, and as long as there's a place for that in advertising, I'm happy. And if it's not, then maybe in fine art, or 20 years ahead is a long time.
Yeah.
People usually have a shorter life in advertising, right? I'm now 40, 10 years from now I'll be 50. You know, young art directors might not want to work with a 50-year-old guy anymore. So we'll see. If people like my pictures, I'll be happy to do work for them. So the people that hire you will always look backwards. They won't look at my work and say, oh, we love your work, but can you do something different for us? They would go and hire some other photographer to do that different part, right? So for you to move forward, this is it. You have a set of pictures, and to move forward, you got to come up with your own ideas and push yourself to here. Because advertising agencies always look at your body of work and say, can you do this for us? Which is always looking backwards. It's repeating something you already done, right? So in order to progress and do better, you have to do it on your own time. Rarely can you do that on an advertising job. They're coming to you because they like the sentiment, and they always usually say, okay, these are the 10 pictures of yours that we're drawn to, right? This is sort of the style that we're looking for in our campaign. So you always sort of draw from something you've already done, versus personal work is pushing forward. So I see it in the years I'm busier. I'm less in the award shows, in the years where I'm shooting less advertising work and do more pictures on my own time. I'm been fortunate enough to pretty much always be represented in the big award shows. So it's an ebb and flow, right? When you're slow, you do better work that will then, result in more advertising work, and then when you shoot less on your own, you get less advertising work, and you apply that time to do more personal work, and it goes a little bit like this. You have to shoot something that's that you're excited about, right? You have to shoot your own style, something that you really resonate with, because if not, you won't be good at it. So you can't chase styles, you can't chase trends, it's futile. You can say that whatever that picture has, I'm drawn to. So you got to find what within that resonates with you and say, okay, I'm going to apply myself into something similar, you know, or whatever that is, but you have to care for it. But I know for sure there's no reason to say, oh, lifestyle is a good category, I'm going to be a lifestyle photographer. No. You got to ask yourself, what am I drawn to? Am I drawn to, you know, ladies in their underwear jumping on a bed throwing pillows? If you're drawn to that, go shoot it. But don't go and shoot that because you think it's going to get your work. Because you won't be good at it then. You won't care for it enough for it to be honest. And advertising agencies, they sniff that out. Good art buyers, good art directors, they will sense that it doesn't have a heart right away. So you got to shoot what your heart is saying to you, or where your heart is at, and then apply that to your pictures. I don't have a family, but I have a girlfriend who I've been with for years and years, and we travel a lot together. There's no other way. There's no other way to it. So when she came to Argentina at the back end of that first assignment, we hadn't seen each other for 3 weeks, which is long, right? But then I shoot one assignment, then we have a week off where I oversee retouch and spend time on the computer myself, but evenings and days we have together, right? So life then is pretty good, even though I spend time retouching during the day. You're in Argentina at night and you go tango dancing and you hang out. There's great experiences there that comes with the job that she could be a part of, which is quite amazing. So yeah, it's tough. Now, eventually I want to slow down too, right? It's a long topic, but I think there's ways to do it. I mean, there's photographers that I go up against quite frequently that some I'm friends with, others I follow on Facebook and stuff, and they balance family life. It seems like, you know, they have kids and they either bring them along. Some I heard bring nannies along for shoots. I mean, there's ways. So, I mean, there's two. I talked to my girlfriend about this, right? There's two sides to me that I have to fulfill, and that is the creative part and there's the relationship part, and I can't be without one or the other. So they just have to work somehow. This is what I think. I think photography is in a better place than it ever has been. That's what I think. It's changing fast. We just got to find a way to adapt to it, right? Photography has never been more popular, never been more used, never. It's in a place where it's more recognized as art, it's more appreciated, it's more partaken in. It's just this crazy image revolution, right? We absorb almost everything now through visual media. We read way less, we tell less stories. All that stuff is now done visually, right? We do it through Instagram and Facebook and video snippets, and it's all absorbed through pictures. It's crazy. I mean, music is still a big part, but the classic storytelling stuff is being absorbed into imagery. We tell our life stories now in pictures, you know? So I think visually we're just blossoming like crazy. So within that wealth of pictures, there's a solid place for image crafters, people that can create pictures that's way beyond what the normal person takes, right? So all those pictures that's out there, and suddenly they go, wow, that's an amazing picture, right? That response there has tremendous commercial value. So what we as photographers need to recognize is that if we create something unique, something that stands above the rest of the visual clutter, it's something that has true commercial value. Now, with this interest of photography, of course, more people come into it and more people want to be a part of it. It's just good in two ways, right? It's good for the, I was about to say uniqueness, but the more people that dives into it, the better the craft gets, right? It gets explored in ways that we haven't seen before, both with CGI and with underwater, whatever it is. We just take the GoPro thing to the extreme, right? There's pictures now that's just beyond things that we thought of, 15, 20 years ago. So it elevates everyone's level. That we just have to. I mean, me doing this at a fairly high level commercially, I can't rest for a second. I can't just think, oh, I'm set now. If I stop taking pictures for myself, I think within a year I'll be irrelevant. Erik Almas, who hasn't done work in a year now, that guy, right? So I can't, I know that there's so many good photographers out there. Everyone want to be a part of sort of the advertising community. So I gotta step up my game every time that I go out and shoot on my own. So it makes me think about it more, makes me go deeper into it. It makes me want to do it better, right? Just to stay on my A game. So I think overall the industry is getting way better, myself included. So that's the great part of it. Because it's changing, right? There's just a basic supply and demand thing where you're oversupplied with photographers. And I think that will sort of settles itself out. As agencies will use more and more imagery and realize that the online space is just as valuable as the print space, they will start paying money for good photography online, and there will be more money to go about, and I think photographers will get paid more as we go forward. We all get pushed to do better work. There's amazing pictures out there, and the demand for pictures are, to me, increasing. Yes, you could talk to certain photographers that say, oh, the stock world is gone and now it's all for free. And well, look at it the other way around. Look at it from the top where, there's a million amazing pictures being created every day and you want to do better than that. And then if you do, you're going to be successful at it. I think there's some mixed media that's going to happen where photographers is going to take more motion and motion directors is going to do more still and all that stuff. So it's going to be a combined market space there. I think us photographers is maybe more positioned to take a bigger part of that pie because we're agile and the big production companies might not be. So I think with those two things, right, I think us photographers are in a good place to capitalize on it, honestly.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of humming and hawing, oh, we're not getting paid for our work and stuff, but it's just the way it is. We're oversupplied and it's capitalism, so people are going to give away their work for free to get a foot in the door. That's just the way it is. So accept it instead of whine about it, and then do better work and put a value to your images. So if you guys want to check out my work, then it's erikalmas.com, ERIKALMAS.com. All the information is there behind the scenes, all my work, link to the DVD if you want to check that out. So all that information is there.
Cool.
Check it out.
Perfect.
My name is Erik Almas. I'm a commercial advertising photographer, do some fashion and editorial on the side, and I've just been framed.